Hey guys, my name's Lucas and welcome to Drum Tip Tuesdays. This week we're talking about how to count in your band without sounding like an idiot. You probably want to stick around. This week we're talking about count-offs, and counting off the band is arguably the most important thing you're going to do as a drummer and probably the thing that you never even think twice about. And here's why it's important. A good count-off can totally change the way that the band starts and plays the whole rest of the tune. If you start the band off at exactly the right tempo and exactly the right energy level, the tune's gonna go well 90% of the time. If you start off the band with a super lame count off at the wrong tempo, well, even if you're playing with great musicians, a lot of the times it's not gonna work out the way it should. So, in order to make it as easy as you can for your musicians and yourself during the tune, you should think about really working on how you count off a band. And it might seem kind of stupid, Lucas, as if I need to work on counting off a band. Well, it's not necessarily something you need to work on per se, shed in a practice room, but it is something that you need to be super conscious about. So I've come up with 3 criteria for a good count off. Number 1, it should be loud. It should be loud enough that the whole band is going to have no question about exactly where the time is. Part of having a good count off is probably being able to snap your fingers. If you can't snap your fingers, well, that's not a big deal. If you're a drummer, you can click your sticks together. You could also tap something, your hand like this. But ideally, you can snap your fingers. This is sort of the universal count-off tool right here is the finger snap. And you want a super loud, super clear snap. Something like that. Now, the second criteria for counting off the band is it should be at the right tempo. Now, this is something that's extremely important, and that's something that drummers screw up all the time. In the heat of the moment in a performance, they don't really think about the tempo. They just start clicking their sticks, they count off the song, and lo and behold, it's way too fast or way too slow. So, a trick for counting a band off at the right tempo is think of a memorable part of the song in your head, say the chorus or the A section of a jazz tune. Sing it along in your head as you're before you start snapping or before you start clicking your sticks together. So after the previous tune is done, you're already thinking about the next tune. You get your page turned if you have music, and you're already thinking about the groove. You're thinking about the melody of the tune. Then once you've got it, that's when you start snapping your fingers. That's when you start clicking your sticks, and then you're going to count the band off, and it's going to, 9 times out of 10, if you take the time to really think about the right tempo, you're going to have a better shot at nailing it the first time instead of going through the whole tune at the wrong tempo. And once you start, there's not a whole lot you can do about it without very obviously just changing the tempo in the middle of the tune, which is definitely not ideal. The third criteria for a good count-off is it should sound confident and it should be energetic, okay? Even if it's not an energetic type tune, the count-off still has to portray confidence, and it needs to set the tune up in a way that everybody's going to come in at the same time, at the same tempo. There's no question about it. The count-off set the musicians up to play in a confident manner. So let me give you an example. Say I'm counting off Autumn Leaves, and I do something like a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So obviously the rhythm wasn't super accurate, okay? My snaps were kind of lame and not very loud, and it sounded like I wasn't really excited to play Autumn Leaves, okay? Well, maybe I'm not excited to play Autumn Leaves, but regardless of whether or not I'm actually excited, I should be counting the tune off in a way that sets up the energy level for the rest of the band in a positive way and not in a negative way. So a much better count off would sound something like this. 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we start playing Autumn Leaves. So that might have been a little bit of a faster tempo, but it doesn't matter at what tempo you're counting it in on. Your count-off should have energy, and your count-off should be confident and dictated, super to the point, exactly the right tempo the first time. All right, and now regarding exactly how to count off different tunes, I'm not going to go through them all and name all the specific count-offs, but I do have a tip. As the tempo gets faster, if I'm counting in a swing tune, one of the things that I like to do is give everybody more time to hear the tempo before I actually count it off. So I'm going to give a longer count off at a super fast tempo if we're playing at like 280 as opposed to a swing tune at 180. I'm going to give the band a longer time to hear the tempo before I count off the tune. For example, if I'm counting in a medium swing tune like Autumn Leaves, I might just snap 2 or 3 times and then say 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we start playing. However, if I'm counting off Autumn Leaves at 280 beats a minute, 300 beats a minute, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I extended the count off over 4 bars to give the band more time to catch on to that tempo and feel really good about it before we start playing. The other thing I might do is snap my fingers for quite a long time before I actually do the count off. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That way, the band has lots of time to start feeling the tempo, internalizing it, and then we're all able to come in a confident way at the same tempo. All right? So there are my 3, actually there was a little extra tip at the end, my 4 tips for counting off a band. If you have any comments, please go ahead and throw them in the comment section below. I answer every comment that comes in. Tune in for Drum Tip Tuesdays every week. I put them out every week on Tuesdays, at least I've been trying. If you have any questions, like I said, put them in the comments. Subscribe to my channel if you like this. And until next week, thanks for tuning in.